Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I drew these cat's eyes in colour pencil and how I use solvent to blend in between each layer. I'm beginning with the dark sepia just to outline the shape of the eye. This is the darkest part of the eye, so going in with that first, making sure that I've got the shape right, and the walnut brown just to edge it slightly, give it a little bit more depth with the pupil. Before going in with the different colours, there was quite a few different colours to this cat's eye, so oranges, greens, browns. So adding those base layers to begin with, the lighter colours first. And then starting to add a little bit of detail, making sure that the outer edges of the eye are the darkest parts. So this gives it the 3D shape. Lots and lots of different layers. Using the Caran d'Ache luminance pencils as well as the polychromos. Going in with a little bit of the cold grey into that highlighted area, because the highlight wasn't just white, it was actually lots of different colours of grey. Adding more and more layers, lots of greens. And going in with the detail now, a little bit of blue in the highlight to reflect the sky, darkening up the pupil, and moving on to the next eye and doing exactly the same again, outlining with the dark sepia, just making sure that I've got the shape right, going down with the base layer in the Caran d'Ache luminance and then building up the different colours, making sure that I leave the highlight, so leaving the paper to show through to begin with. That's what gives the eye the shine. Going in with all those greens and oranges and browns, darkening up the edges to give it that 3D look. Taking your time, building up the layers. As you can see, pupil's been a bit lost, so I'll go in with the dark sepia again and the black polychromos just to outline the darkest parts again, and the shadow, and then to get that pupil in, darkening up some more. So noticing I need a little bit more on the other side before going into the fur and just laying down a base layer here, Caran d'Ache luminance, so nice and smooth, really able to get a nice base layer down without too much effort. Now mapping out the texture of the fur, so lots of different stripes. So going in colour by colour, layer by layer. Just working in the direction of the fur slightly, not adding any detail yet. But making sure I can map out where the direction of the fur is, as it does tend to change a lot around the eyes and also around the nose of the cat. As you can see, I'm building up colour by colour, layer by layer. So darkening the base tone a little bit before going in with some more oranges and browns, darkening up those stripes, blending them into the base layer too. Just using small little lines just to show the direction of the fur. Darkening up the darkest parts, so really looking closely at my reference photo, seeing which parts are in shadow and which parts are highlighted. Darkening up some more, and here I go in with the solvent, the tiny little brush, and you can see that it really does bring out the colours and make it pop, blending the first layer making sure I've got enough pigment on the brush. You can see it really blends it nicely, makes those colours pop. Once that layer's dry, you can then go in with the colour pencils on top. It's really great because you're not burnishing the paper, which means flattening the tooth. So you can add lots more layers on top of the solvent, just making sure that it is completely dry. I left it about 30 minutes. And in the first few layers you do tend to add more solvent just to blend those colours together. And if you're noticing that even with the solvent it still looks a little bit grainy, you can still see the grains of the paper showing through, it probably means that there's not quite enough pigment down, so not quite enough layers of pencil down before you blended. So you just leave that to dry and then come back in with some more pencil. I'm sure that will work out really well. So I'm going in with some more darkers, just edging the eyes again, just making sure that they are as dark as they need to be, to make sure they look nice and 3D. Adding a little bit more detail. And going in with the different colours, the browns, the oranges, into the fur strokes. Another great thing with solvent is that you can go over with lighter pencils, which is really quite difficult with colour pencils. You tend to have to go from light to dark. They're not very forgiving. If you put a white pencil over the top of a darker colour, it doesn't tend to show very well. But with solvent, it tends to really help with that, so you're able to lighten up areas on top of darker areas, which is always a bonus. And mapping out the shadows in the fur, making sure they're as dark as they need to be. Going in with little lines just to make sure that it looks like little fur strokes. Adding some more pigment, so the browns. Into the fur, even into the lightest parts of the fur. You can still see some little darker hairs showing through, and this is what gives it the realistic look. A little bit more pigment to the eyes just to make them look even more 3D. Getting that shadow right at the top. Taking your time, going back and forth, checking the reference photo. Some blues and greys in the highlight. Those fur strokes in again. And in with the solvent again. This time it's the second layer, we don't have to add as much solvent to get the same results. Again, lovely blending between all of the different colours. Gives it a really painterly look and gets rid of the graininess of the paper, which I know can be a little bit of an issue sometimes, depending on the paper that you use and depending on the pencils you use. So the key really is layers and making sure that you leave enough time to let the solvent dry in between the layers. Adding a few more fur strokes, darkening up a little bit. And there's the cat's eyes finished. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. It would be great if you could like and subscribe and share it with your friends.
and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye!